Our next speaker. Dave Nassaney is an ACV at Quest Toastmasters in Valencia, an author of 3 books, a radio show host to caregivers, and a caregiver himself to his lovely wife, Charlene, for the last 20 years. His speech tonight is from the storytelling manual, Project 1, The Folk Tale. The title of his speech is entitled The Magical Christmas Story of St. Nicholas. Please welcome Dave Nassaney to the lecture.
Welcome, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great time. Who would ever think that over there in Turkey, on the southern Turkish border, where ISIS jihadists are fighting the Turks right at this very moment, we would have the birth of a magical Christmas story? You see, it all started with a little boy named Nicholas. He was a wonderful, generous, good-hearted soul. And he was the son of very prosperous parents. And they were praying for a baby for many, many years. But you see, they couldn't have a baby. But one day, their prayers were answered, and little Nicholas came around. And they were so excited, but unfortunately, they died not too long after that because of a plague that was going around in the area. You see, little Nicholas was born in the 3rd century during the Roman Empire occupation of an area in Asia Minor, in Turkey. And he was a very, like I said, a very good-hearted boy. And when his parents died, his uncle, who was also named Nicholas, raised him. And his uncle was also a bishop in the church. He came from a good, devout Christian family. So what happened? Soon, the bishop of Myra in Italy died. And so they were looking for another bishop to replace him. And one of the bishops had a dream. And in the dream, an angel came to him and said, "Go back to church, and the first person who comes through the door, his name will be Nicholas, and he will be my next bishop." So of course they all went back to church. And sure enough, the first person that went through the door was Nicholas. And they asked him what his name was. And he says, "My name is Nicholas." He says, "You are to be our next bishop." However, Nicholas refused. He was so humble. But you don't refuse Catholic bishops when they tell you that you are to be a bishop. So he accepted. What happened afterwards is he became a monk at a young age. And at the age of 19, he became a priest. And then afterwards, as I said, he became the Archbishop of Myra. Now, there was a Roman emperor named I have so much trouble pronouncing his name. Diocletian, I think that's close enough. And he was persecuting Christians. And he threw Nicholas in jail. And he threw every priest and deacon and bishop that he could find in jail. In fact, there were so many in jail that he could not find enough. There was not enough room for criminals, murderers, to be in jail. So let me tell you some stories about Nicholas. There was a famous story about this father who had 3 daughters. And you know, daughters are very, very expensive. But in those days, they were very, very expensive because if you didn't have a dowry for your daughter, they would have to go into prostitution or be sold into slavery because dowries were very expensive. So when Nicholas found out, he filled 3 socks full of gold and threw them in the window anonymously. And that story never came out, but on the 3rd day, he was caught. And he says, "Please don't tell anybody, I want God to get the glory." Now, Nicholas did die eventually, in the year 325 AD. And the reason I have notes here is because ever since I turned 60, I have a Swiss cheese memory. And every now and then, I hit holes. But it seems like so many are concerned about political correctness these days, even when it concerns our safety. So I want to be politically correct and offer to St. Nicholas the opportunity to remind our children who the real Santa Claus is and where he came from, and how his Christian morals and his Christian values and his generosity prompted the real Santa Claus. Because as St. Nicholas threw those bags of gold into the homes, they landed in shoes and socks that were drying near the fireplace. And see, this is where some of the customs come, where children hang their stockings in front of the fireplace. So, to quote, like I did last year, Marley's Ghost in the Christmas Carol, I want to say that when we talk about the true value of Christmas and the true spirit of Christmas, mankind is my business. The common welfare is my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence is my Christmas. So please, everyone who's willing to help me spread the word this Christmas about the real Santa Claus, raise your hand. Thank you very much.